What happened to us? Validate the account. Meghan. Oh, there's the video that I was looking for. Okay, this is the lady who witnessed it. It's 4 minutes and 12 seconds. Okay, what happened to us validates the accounts Meghan and Harry gave. I want to see everyone in the royal household step up and acknowledge that institutional racism, the kind of dynamics we experience, are a real problem and have really damaging effect. Okay, 4 minutes and 12 seconds. I didn't listen to it for the purpose of recording.
Well, we can speak now to Mandu Reid, the leader of the British Women's Equality Party, who was at that event and heard those comments. Mandu, really appreciate you spending a bit of time with us on 5 News tonight. Can I ask you, is that your recollection of that conversation? And if that is the case, how uncomfortable was it to hear that?
Yes, that's exactly as I recall it. And it was deeply uncomfortable. It was a prolonged interaction. It wasn't fleeting, it wasn't just for a few seconds. There was this persistent line of inquiry, persistent series of questions. Ngozi's answers were repeatedly treated as if they weren't good enough or perhaps weren't even true. And it did feel like
she did put the transcript, okay? I'll go back to my other video to find the transcript and put it right next to the video as it's playing. She consistently asking where she's from, and she said she's a British national. It seems like she didn't accept that, this and that and that and that. So this is what the lady is making reference to.
She was being interrogated. It was extremely uncomfortable for her, and I was standing right next to her. I'm a black woman. There's another woman standing next to her, a woman called Daisy, also a black woman. It instantly changed the atmosphere for us and tainted our experience of being in this really important gathering that's about a really important subject. We felt like perhaps we are being treated as trespassers. And so, yeah, it was a really bad start to what should have been an important event, an important gathering.
I'm sure
that's the mentality that they have whenever they see a black people. Their guards are completely off. They already, that mindset, they train their mind to see black people as this is what just happened here. And then you've heard royal rats talking how the staff talk very badly about Meghan.
The aides really speak quite badly about.
Oh, well, the way that Meghan is spoken about by the people that have had to deal with her is quite frightening.
Yeah.
I mean, they're
pleased she's gone.
Yeah, she's not.
When you say aides, you mean
aides to William and Kate and other members of the royal family. They're pleased.
This is the thing is being played out again here. So here there is a witness. All right, let's continue.
You've seen some of the responses from the palace this afternoon. One from the Prince of Wales saying, a spokesperson there, racism has no place in our society, and the comments made at Buckingham Palace reception were unacceptable. That's from the Prince of Wales. Buckingham Palace maintain that they've reached out to Ngozi on this matter and are inviting her to discuss all elements of her experience in person if she wishes. Now, up until a while ago, we were under the impression that she had still not received that correspondence. Do you know that to be the case? Has there been reaching out from the palace to Ngozi?
And all this stuff he just said about Prince Charles put out, okay, it's just lip service. Then they said they were gonna have some person to teach them certain things. What happened to that? These are just lip service. They never want to learn anything. All right, so let's listen.
I don't know. I haven't heard directly from Ngozi about that.
Okay.
And how do you feel about their response? They've obviously spoken to the person in question who you were part of that conversation with, and they have stepped down and apologised. Is that enough?
I think it's really interesting how quickly they responded. But I think the response, I have some issues with the response. I don't want to see the woman in question step down. I want to see her step up. I want to see everyone around her and everyone in the royal household step up and acknowledge that institutional racism, the kind of dynamics we experienced, are a real problem and have really damaging effects for people like me, people like Ngozi, who are interacting with the royal household.
Hey, Meghan warned you guys. Meghan warned you guys. But nobody seems to believe her. There it is. It's playing out. Princess Diana is doing her work. bring these things into light.
I think this idea of her stepping down, perhaps as an attempt to minimize it, perhaps as an attempt to reduce it, it reminds me of that bad apple narrative. It reminds me of that this is an isolated incident narrative, which we see when we're talking about the Metropolitan Police or the Fire Brigade or other institutions that have racism and misogyny baked into how they operate. So, no, I want to see some real engagement. I want to see a real acknowledgement, and I want to see them do some reflection and actually commit to doing better, changing the institution, changing the culture within that institution, and showing real leadership at a time of real increasing division and polarization in our country on these subjects.
And can I ask you briefly, I know this is probably a hard one to answer briefly, but what does that incident you witnessed yesterday, what does that show you in the light of what we saw Meghan Markle talk about in the royal family during that Oprah Winfrey interview, do you think?
You know, I've been thinking about this a lot today. I think it really validates the account Meghan Markle and Prince Harry gave of their experiences.
Bingo, bingo. That's it. With our prayers, a little bit at a time, truth will come to light. And this is that. Okay? It validated it.
Bear in mind, I was at a reception which just lasted a few hours over an afternoon. Imagine dealing with similar dynamics over days and days, weeks and weeks, months and months. I think it is, it kind of corroborates what they explained they had to endure and deal with. And I think it's a demonstration of how serious this is, how much of a big issue it is, and how it needs a response that's more substantive than symbolic to deal with it.
Mandu Reid, appreciate you talking to us tonight. I'm sure you and we will continue to follow this story. Thank you very much.
That's very good. It's pretty much validated what Harry and Meghan have said in the Oprah interview. God is good. God is good. Okay, very good response, Mandu. Well said. Why did it take this happening to you to validate what Meghan and Harry said? They should have been validated from the moment they spoke. Okay, Miss Reid, high five to you. When we pray, let the blind see, okay? And some other things where we say they need to experience it in order for them to understand it. This is it, okay? Our prayers, you have to feel your prayers when you say. You don't just waste God's time with prayers. You have to feel it and understand what you're praying for so God could listen to you and feel your pain to make it happen. Please let Ngozi know that we see her. Thank you for speaking up. Curious to know whether any other non-white people were questioned about their heritage or if it was just the woman wearing stereotypically African heritage attire. You know what I'm thinking? During Meghan's wedding, the way Miss Doria kept her hair, and I was so loving it when that happened. Keep her true value, her core value there, and I was like, good for her. That probably must have pissed them off. All right, this is that. People who were there, thank you. Your voice and linking it to Meghan's treatment is so important. They tried to make it an untruth because they thought they could. Thanks for your strength and courage in this. Okay, very articulate response, Mando. Thank you for speaking up and sharing your hands-on experience of this awful incident. Yes, Meghan was right all along. Yeah, the way that she said, she was just there for a few minutes and then it ruined their experience over there. But can you imagine Meghan going through it day in, day out with this nonsense non-stop? Yeah, it could be detrimental. That will definitely lead her to be suicidal. Okay, so your comments in Newsweek, as in this segment, you were brilliant. Thank you, lady. Thank you. Thank you for your voice and support. You explained everything very well in this clip. I agree. It needs people in that firm to step up with substantial honesty and present workable solution re-education. Okay, you made a good point about the need to step up, Mando. Well said. The way you discuss the matter is in a very tasteful and a very the way you discussed the matter is in a very tasteful way. I hope everything you will see in social media are like this, a conversation starter. Thank you for sharing this. Okay, amazing, articulate, concise, and considered. Important point on how this reflects on not just royal institution but others too. The need to step up and not down. Yeah, I thought that was a very good point. Not when they step down, is just shove it under the rug and continue the same narrative. Alright, it's just an isolated incident, you know, a bad apple, you remove it, but the thing, the nonsense, the mentality is still there. Alright, they need to step up, not down, change and grow, not scapegoat, and use this as catalyst for progress, while Queen Consort couldn't bear to touch a black child. Yep, 100%. Thank you for speaking out. It does validate the enormous chips on the shoulders both you and Meghan have. Okay, it is a pity that you are using royal family as prop for your publicity. Oh, please, please. What publicity is not? This is their experience. They asked her a question, so she's answering. She was the witness to the incident. What royal families? But they were in the palace. They were invited. Oh, God. All right, baggage for God. Baggage for God. Next tweet. I have one more. Oh, what is this? Okay, you can get rid of an 80-year-old woman, but the system's not going to change. Racism within the culture and structure of royal family needs to be addressed. Okay, 41 seconds. What is this? I didn't hear that one.
William's come out today and condemned it, saying there's no room for these comments in the royal family. He condemns racism. Interesting that he didn't condemn the racism that Meghan, when Meghan said her first-person account of what had been said to her. So he believed this woman, but not Meghan. And in fact, Ngozi herself.
Very good point. Very good point. Because the thing is that it was in the close environment of the family, because they have all their peoples around them to change the wording. Okay, recollection may vary. Remember that kind of phrase, recollection may vary. So they have all their peoples around them who could lie for them. Okay, remember Prince Charles, people is expected to lie for him.
Prince Charles expected his butler to keep visits to Camilla a secret from the princess.
Paul just turned around to him and said, well, are you expecting me to lie for you, Your Royal Highness?
Okay, remember Prince Charles, people is expected to lie for him.
And Prince Charles said, well, yes. Yes, I am. And went into this histrionics about being the King of England, the future King of England, the Prince of Wales, and you will lie, stamping his feet, and then threw this book in Paul's direction.
So that is easily taken care of. But that one, that happened, there were other witnesses, so they can sway people's mind. Okay, these other witnesses are not part of the royal family. So that's the difference here. Let me start it all over.
William's come out today and condemned it, saying there's no room for these comments in the royal family. He condemns racism. Interesting that he didn't condemn the racism that Meghan, when Meghan said her first-person account of what had been said to her. So he believed this woman, but not Meghan. And in fact, Ngozi herself said she didn't want to name. Okay, she identified and gave a hint as to who it was, and people have jumped on that. But she didn't feel like this woman needed to be outed and turned into this focal point of hatred, because actually it's far bigger than that. It's not just about individual change. You can get rid of an 81-year-old woman. The system's not going to change. You need to address racism within the structure of the royal family.
That's exactly that. And then we just hear that other video. All right, let's see here. Excellent point. But one correction, William didn't condemn racism in the racist royal family. The statement said, quote, racism has no place in our society. Take away a meaningless sentiment whose sole purpose was to deflect the blame again. Okay, what is this? Finally, I want to address the story relating to a guest attending a reception at Buckingham Palace last night. This is a matter for Buckingham Palace, but as the Prince of Wales spokesperson, I appreciate you all here and understand you want to ask about it, so let me address it head on. I was really disappointed to hear about the guest's experience at Buckingham Palace last night. Obviously, I wasn't there, but racism has no place in our society. The comments were unacceptable, and it is right that the individual has stepped aside with immediate effect. Step aside, yeah, brush it under the rug, but the same mentality continue. If when Meghan point out her experience and then you guys did something about it, maybe that experience the lady have could have been completely different. And then when what's the other one, Camilla go to the kids school, will not be picking up the child's hand with two little fingers on the sleeve. Okay, these kind of things, you guys are showing it. Okay, not only doing it, you saying it, people are seeing it. Okay, her not to address an issue head on, dehumanize the person subject to the indignity by referring to her as the guest, make sure that you mention it was not your department, blame society and not your racist institution, minimize the incident by calling it unacceptable, treat it as an isolated incident by a rogue employee, and distance yourself by not acknowledging offending party, place in your life. All right. Well said. Well done, Nicole. You nailed it again, this part. Okay, where was William letter of defense for Meghan and Archie? William is dirty as hell. Okay, asking where someone or their people are from is not racist. But the okay, like I said, I need to put that screenshot because she answered the question. The first time I couldn't understand, where are you from? Okay, she said she's from where, and then she insisted what the nationality, this and that, and she said she was born in the UK. It seems like that wasn't good enough. What was she supposed to say? Okay, someone in one comments that I read said come from your mother's vagina, and that should be good enough. Okay, thanks Nicole for always being on the side of right, also for making the very obvious point that William took the word of Newsy as truth and acted, but the recollection varied when it was his sister-in-law making same point. We know why though. He was one of the racists. Well said. Prince William can run but cannot run from the central role he and his wife Kate Middleton play in the media vilification of their sister-in-law Meghan. Okay, to get rid of the system, you have to get rid of the monarchy. You can't have both. Unfortunately, they will never learn. 80-year-old who should be retired by now anyway. There's a picture of Camilla sitting, and then the two ladies in the back, they look so freaking old, and it was sad looking at it. Okay, the system is changing, it's progressing. The things that an 80-year-old comes out with are not the same as the things that a 50-year-old comes out with, and so on. I myself used to have a lot more of this conversation when I was younger. Come on. Okay, well said. It was Camilla's event. Where is her apology and statement? Okay, I didn't know it was her event. Okay, there's no comment. Okay, his condemnation was a pure gesture. Everyone knows this, and that is why the debate will rage on in Britain. He was so quick to throw her under the bus, but after what 60-year-old service, in the hope that it will all go away. Come on, William. Alright, let's read these and then that's it. It baked in. Royal blood rules common blood. To get rid of it, it's racism. You have to get rid of the monarchy. Good luck with that. Okay, I didn't know Lady Hussey was a member of the royal family. I didn't know either. Okay, spot on. Also, word are meaningless. If they are not backed with real action, I guess talk is cheap. I've always been 100% convinced that William was one who was concerned about Archie's color, but not the only one, but who talked to Harry. Alright, I think this family has racism and cooperated and normalized in its system that this situation are common every day. Yeah, we have things where, what is it, Andrew is calling people the N-word freely without any, people can't even sue them. Okay, how could someone like that be godmother of a next king of the UK? What does that say about the royal family? Alright, could have said it any better. Now let's watch and see how they will continue to dodge the obvious. Alright, so there's more comment. Let's do a prayer.